All right, welcome back to Politically Homeless. I am your politically homeless man, Dave. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I have different personas on different channels. Politically Homeless, by the way, you can watch on BitChute because sometimes there will be content that is too spicy. I found that out for this particular platform, especially when it comes to the thing, the floating particle with little spiky things on there. Can't talk about that. Can't talk truth about that. But of course, you can talk about this debate. Everybody in the world last night and into today, this is going to be the topic for quite some time. And should the 25th Amendment be utilized? Should Joe Biden be 25th Amendmented out of the presidency? Well, Chip Roy thinks so. This, according to The Hill, says he'll call on Kamala Harris to remove Joe Biden under the 25th Amendment. This just happened a couple of hours ago. And he plans to put forth a resolution urging Vice President Harris to convene the cabinet and declare President Biden unable to carry out the duties of the Oval Office after the commander-in-chief's poor debate performance Thursday. That request is not hyperbole. That is not a political stunt. That is somebody who understands that this man is not able to perform the duties of President of the United States and needs to be taken out. You know, not physically taken out, not shot or anything. So if you heard that, I'm clarifying here. It's by the use of the 25th Amendment. The announcement marks the latest fallout from the CNN debate between Biden and former President Trump. Now, again, you Trumpers will like this. I'm not MAGA enough. I find this out all the time. You're really not very MAGA, Dave. No, I'm not, because I believe that MAGA is a cult, okay? But I can look at a situation and say, guess what? Donald Trump was Einstein last night compared to, but I could have been Einstein. A 6-year-old could have been Einstein compared to Biden, who really just lost his train of thought. Even when he had a train of thought, he would just, that's the way he talks. And at one point, I think Trump said something like, I don't know what he just said. I don't know what he just said, but it was stupid, right? It was just, he didn't say it like that, but he literally just looked at everybody and said, do you know what he just said? I don't know. And that might have been the winning. You know how debates, there's a line in the debate, you know, Ronald Reagan had a classic line in one of his debates talking to Mondale about his age. And there have been zingers over the years where people remember the one-liners, and that tends to sway public opinion, even if that's not a good idea, just to base your opinion on someone's ability to get someone, you know. But last night, the entire start to finish performance from Biden was such an unmitigated disaster that, you know, you Trumpers, and I'm somewhat happy too, because again, I can't stand Biden. And again, if you give me, a shot of sodium pentothal, I'm going to say, yeah, obviously I voted for Trump a couple of times, and, I'll take Trump over Biden 7 days a week, twice on Sunday, whatever, however you want to look at it. Yeah. But I still think we can do better. I watched the debate via the RFK website and therealdebate.com, where John Stossel was curating that content and posing questions to Kennedy, and he was hitting them out of the ballpark. He was talking about stuff that nobody is talking about. The corporate capture of the government. No one's talking about this. The chronic disease epidemic. Nobody is talking about these things, because guess who brings us the content on CNN? Well, this episode, or this debate, being brought to you in part by Pfizer. See, people don't see the connection there. And this is why, you're not going to get a COVID. Did we get a COVID question last night? No, of course not. Kennedy would have swerved it right over and said, "You two lunatics locked everybody down. You're both responsible for what happened." That would have been like, okay, who is this Kennedy guy? Because he's telling the truth. And that's what he did during his space, which was primarily on Twitter, but I think a few other outlets picked it up. I think NTD, whatever that is, had it live. Some other people streamed it live. Um, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed watching it. I think at one point he had 5.5 million people watching his stream. They wanted to hear what he had to say. 70% of the people in the country don't want or want at least want another choice, right? A lot of people might come home to Trump. I don't know who's coming home to Biden. I just don't. So the 25th Amendment is a practical idea at this point. Now, will the Democrats aren't going to, they're going to do it a different way if they get rid of Biden. And it's got to happen before the convention so people can meet their new, fresh face, whether it's Newsom. Um, I'm really thinking because of name ID, it might be Hillary Clinton. I know you just threw up a little bit in your mouth, and I'm sorry about that. But I'm thinking Hillary has got the name ID she would love more than anything else on planet Earth to have a rematch with Donald Trump. And by the way, Trump would too. Trump would love to take on Hillary again. It would be great television because this is what we care about. We don't care about issues. Otherwise, we would have had RFK in the debate. They were challenging RFK last night. Well, you didn't have the 15% support in 5 polls. He had it in 4 polls. And the 5th poll or whatever, the CNN people just said, no, we don't like this poll. And the other thing is, technically, RFK is on the ballot right now in more states than Trump or Biden because they're presumptive nominees. They haven't had their conventions yet. And typically after the conventions, that's when your name gets put on the ballot, in case you didn't know that. So RFK is actually ahead of the game, but they're saying, well, you've collected signatures, but they haven't been certified yet. It's just, again, the media controlling the process, the Democrat Party, and to some degree the Republican Party controlling the process. But getting back to the 25th Amendment, it's not a mechanism that I think the Democrats are going to use. I think it's going to be subtle, but it will happen. That's my prediction. And I could be wrong because these people want to hold on to power so much. And I'm talking about the Biden family. I'm talking about Jill Biden. A lot of people, and justifiably so, are really angry with Jill Biden because Jill, this is, to me, is elder abuse, and she does not care about this country. She cares about holding on to power. I never liked her as a person. I mean, I don't like any of the Bidens. The Bidens do not come off, at least, the Trump family, they're certainly more interesting and more comical and more entertaining. And I see, again, I'm trying to do the positive things here for the MAGA people, and that's most important to MAGA. But the other things that you can't deny, which, again, you had fact checkers last night challenging stuff that Biden said about Trump, which is really weird. That I knew something was up. Like, Biden talked about border crossings. Yeah, I've got fewer border crossings, but my border crossings are better than Trump's. What did you just try to say? That you have fewer border crossings than Donald Trump had? Look, technically, I think Obama had a pretty good record at the border, which doesn't make sense. But see, in those days, you could get away with doing border enforcement. I don't know. The Bernie bros and all those disruptive, real left wingers came along and said, nobody's illegal. And then everybody decided to come over after that. And then that was a policy within the left wing of the government to say that these people can just come over because they're going to help the economy. Then the Republicans, of course, have come up with the great replacement theory. I heard Tucker Carlson talking about that. Could be some truth to that based on what's happening. Oh, you can't say that out loud, Dave. It's no replacement. This is something, this sounds like Nazi Germany. Yeah, well, I don't care if it's true, right? You could still influence all the people that are coming here and tell them about this country and tell them they have to learn about our history and tell them maybe about Christianity. If they're not already, a lot of people from South America already have that foundation. And some of them, a lot of them, not to sound like Trump, but many of them are very hardworking people. But they are letting people, it's true that they are letting people out of prison, out of mental institutions. And that's because of what we've done to many of these countries. This is our foreign policy, by the way. This is the other side of the coin, that our foreign policy is destabilizing, Latin America. No one's going to talk about that. A few left-wingers will bring it up now and then, but it's just not even on the radar. Gee, why are they coming here? Well, they're coming here for a better life. Well, they're coming here because their countries are all being destabilized by American intervention and sanctions and things like that. And nobody. See, conservatives have to get off their couch and do some research sometimes. They're right about some things, but they're ill-informed on other things. They're not informed about Israel-Palestine. They're not really informed about that. Everyone just takes a side and doesn't look at the total big picture. Same thing with Christians interpreting the Bible as to how to behave or how to, honor one country while the other country, you can just commit heinous acts in that country. I don't think Jesus would bomb anybody. I'm just throwing it in there. I don't think he would bomb anyone. And if he's your king, I hear all the time, Christ is king, then you should follow the king's advice. Anyway, I've gotten off track here. Will the 25th Amendment be used? I don't think so. Is this a political stunt? No, I think this is a serious move by Chip Roy. It would be cool if other people signed on to this idea and said, yeah, I mean, this is bad. It's time. It's just time. And you know what? This takes a lot of guts, because who becomes the president? Well, it would be Kamala Harris. She'd be the first female president. She'd have some glory maybe for a couple of months before she would get beaten in a landslide by Donald Trump or RFK. But look, do I want RFK to win everything? Yeah. Does he have a legitimate chance based on the current political landscape? It's iffy. It's iffy. It's more of a vote out of principle, but I'm not upset. I wouldn't be crying if Donald Trump won the election. I would not be crying. I'm frustrated, though, because I'm always hopeful that things are going to change, that we're not going to spend another $8 trillion. We're not going to just pump up the economy by printing money. And the last two presidents, and technically if you throw Obama in there, he did the same thing. And then Bush at the end of his term, if you remember. So since George W. Bush, we've destroyed the free market in order to save it. That's what we've done. So I'm just kind of doing my stream of consciousness here. I could be wrong about all this stuff, but my goal here is to see somebody come in and take hold of all these federal agencies and deal with the Federal Reserve and deal with the nonstop money printing and deal with the endless war crisis, all of those things. Try some diplomacy. Trump always says this stuff would have never happened. We don't know that for sure. So Trump's job, if he were to be reelected, right, would be to stop all of these wars. Let's see if he could do it. I know RFK could do it. I'm 100% sure he could do it. Biden and Harris and anybody the Democrats put forth, they're going to be doing these endless wars for the rest of the existence of this republic, which who knows how long we're going to last. Technically, we used to be a republic. Now we're a hodgepodge of tribal factions trying to coexist, and it's not really working out. So there you have it. That's my politically homeless video showing more of my political homelessness by the minute. Thank you for watching this. If you want to help the channel out, there'll be a link in here for a buy me a coffee where you could buy me a coffee. After last night, I should have drank more coffee this morning, but just really what I need right now is a nap. So me and Joe, I'm sure Joe is taking a nap, Joe Biden, and maybe it's time for me to take one too.